Good morning. It's 7:30 on this Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. Today is a special stream because we are focusing on dementia awareness. We have a neuropsychologist joining us from Orlando Health this morning to help us learn more about those warning signs, prevention, and treatment. With us this morning, Dr. Tamika Haynes. Thank you so much for, streaming in with us early this morning. I'm sure you're busy. We appreciate your time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about your specialty there at Orlando Health and some of the great things that are happening in terms of, handling people who are dealing with dementia.
Okay, so in our neuropsychology practice, what we do is help to diagnose and plan treatment for people with a variety of neurological disorders. Primarily in this unit, we look after adults who have different types of neurological disorders, from traumatic brain injury, epilepsy, to stroke, and also dementia, different types of dementia. We have to diagnose that and plan treatment.
So what are some of the things that we're discovering now about dementia as more research becomes available? What are some of those misconceptions or discoveries that have come through in just the past few years that have shed a lot more light on this disease?
Well, the first thing we should understand is that dementia is the end result of a disease process that likely begins in your 40s or 50s. And what we see at the end when we're noticing changes in a person's behavior or changes in their language abilities or memory is really near the end of that disease process. So that is something that we need to understand from early. Another thing, this is more in relation to how the general public might see dementia. There's often a confusion that dementia is different from, say, Alzheimer's, when what we need to understand is that dementia we can consider as an umbrella, and the different types of dementia are the spokes of those that umbrella. And so you will see that Alzheimer's is a type of dementia, and so is frontotemporal lobe dementia, and there are other types such as vascular dementia.
And we recently in the news noticed that Wendy Williams was diagnosed with the same type of dementia that Bruce Willis was also diagnosed with. So, what is it exactly that's happening that's triggering this? Is it something that people are doing? Is it something in the genetics? Is it, medicine that we're taking for one thing that is triggering this later? What do we know?
Unfortunately, there are very few things we know about frontotemporal lobe dementia alongside the other types of dementia. One thing is clear though, if you have a family member who has dementia, the likelihood of you developing it increases. It doesn't mean you will definitely have it, but it does increase. It's a risk factor that increases your likelihood of developing that. Otherwise, frontotemporal lobe dementia, for example, is something that's largely diagnosed earlier in a person's life. So maybe in their 40s or 50s, instead of when you usually see people being diagnosed with dementia, which is probably upwards of 65, closer to 70 when you see people being diagnosed.
And so, have we been able to really slow it down significantly here in the recent years? What can you tell us in terms of like more promising treatments?
Well, everybody is trying to get on the boat to get a handle on this disease process, especially since it begins so early and it's progressively worse over time. However, we're still in the very early stages of trying to find a drug that will slow the progression down. There is no cure. At this moment, what we can do is find something, some kind of chemical that will help to slow the progression of the disease, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. So we're still in the early stages of research and development on different types of medications that could help.
So, if you've seen it happen in your family, what can you do to be proactive in terms of your health and the health of your loved ones?
As I always say, there are lifestyle changes that must be made. Picking up a new fad or a new diet is not the way to do it. It's an entire lifestyle change. There are different ways of managing your health so that you are overall managing your risk factors for developing dementia. So it would be things like managing your sugar intake, lowering that as much as possible. If you can, reducing it completely would be great, because there are natural sugars in other foods that we eat. Also, maintaining an active lifestyle that includes aerobic exercise as well as consistent weight training, at least 45 minutes daily. Those are things that you can do immediately, and those are within your powers. There's also a lot of research on the Mediterranean diet, which has shown to reduce the likelihood of developing dementia. And if you do have dementia, it can help to slow the progression just by the types of food groups that are included in a Mediterranean diet. It's also important to maintain social contacts and socialization because, especially as we grow older, we tend to kind of stick to ourselves, but it's really important for the brain to thrive in a social and a community type setting where we're conversing with people, we're interacting with people, to help keep our minds sharp.
And so when we look at what we went through in the past few years, the pandemic affected so many people. Did you see sort of a surge in numbers now that, we're coming out on the back half of that, and so many people were isolated, many seniors, people up in age were the vulnerable ones who really had to isolate more?
I am seeing an increase in the number of people coming in for concerns about their memory. Some people are diagnosed with memory disorder, and some it's more psychological. There are also some of the effects from maybe you are a person who has long COVID. That can look like dementia. We're still in the early stage of understanding what that looks like, but it can cause an inflammatory process that kind of looks like dementia but may not be at this stage. So I am seeing an uptick in patients who come out with more concerns about how they think or remember things.
Okay, and is there like a basic, test that we can do maybe at home or with a loved one, just as like a preliminary to getting an appointment to come in and see a specialist?
Well, the primary avenue for that would be through your primary care provider. But what you can look for in your loved ones is a pattern of behavior, not just a one off, I can't find my keys or where did I park my car, but a consistent pattern of memory deficits, forgetting recent conversations, forgetting where they put things, putting things where they don't belong. And especially in like a frontotemporal lobe dementia, you want to look for behavior changes that are out of the ordinary for the person. Things like apathy, they just don't want to do anything anymore. It kind of looks like depression, but there's no real reason for it. Other things that you may want to look for changes in language, which is what I suspect those cases that you mentioned earlier may have been the first marker for. Things like not understanding the meaning of words that you know already, having difficulty putting sentences together or putting them incorrectly together, so your grammatical composition is off, inappropriate behaviors, as well as sometimes it comes along with movement disorders. So it can look like maybe you're developing Parkinson's or you have difficulty regulating your own body temperature, and you begin to notice difficulty in walking or maintaining your balance. So you want to look for a consistent pattern over time, and you also want to make sure that it's not due to more of a psychological issue. So the first avenue can be just being aware of some of the changes in behavior and speaking and understanding information and conversation. And then you can take them to their primary care provider with the concerns that you've noticed. So please make sure you're making, or you can all talk the changes that make, because sometimes the person themselves is not aware of the changes that are happening with them.
All right. And Dr. Haynes, where can we go for more information, and how can we, contact Orlando Health or get paired up with the right specialist to explore these concerns further if we ourselves have them or have them for a loved one?
Well, you can contact your primary care provider. You can also look to our memory disorders clinic that we have here at Orlando Health. And you can also contact us through our specialists on our website, so you can have a look there. But primarily, you're going to want to look through your primary care provider and the neurologist.
And really, what is the rule of thumb? Is it the sooner the better? Is it to evaluate this every year after a certain age? What do you recommend for the general public?
It's good in your 40s and 50s to kind of get a good idea of your overall physical and mental health, cognition included. So it, although it might be harder to kind of get into see a neuropsychologist if you're not displaying, frank memory deficits, getting a baseline evaluation or even a screening from a neurologist or your primary care provider can help to kind of highlight any early areas of concern, so that you can begin to really track it and see if it is the developing of a dementia or if it's something else and what else can you do about it. But the first thing you really can do is to take your lifestyle in your own hands and make sure you are as healthy as you possibly can be.
Yes, and I like that you encourage, the increased activity and socializing. And there's a saying that I used to hear, if you sit down, you go down. So you have to keep busy at any age.
Yes, your body really enjoys movement and being challenged, doing new things. So it's important to also take up activities that you would not normally do, such as learning a new musical instrument or another language, going to places that you haven't been before. Try and stimulate your brain because it really enjoys being challenged and it likes to figure out new things. So let's keep it active.
Yes, good advice. Well, Dr. Haynes, thank you so much for joining us, neuropsychologist at Orlando Health, and we appreciate your expertise this morning.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks again. We have a few news headlines this morning. Crew 8 officially at the ISS this morning. They arrived and the Crew Dragon capsule docked in just the past few hours, a little over a day after liftoff from the Cape. It's a little crowded there right now, so we are happy to report them arriving. The Orange County School Board is hearing arguments this morning in a dispute over a new teacher contract, and we've been covering this. The district is offering what it says are historic raises, but the union isn't happy about the increase in the health care costs, so we'll keep you posted on what's happening there. And it is Tuesday. It's also Super Tuesday, and voters in more than a dozen states are heading out to the polls today in Super Tuesday, and many experts are expecting a sweep by former President Trump in his bid for a GOP nomination. Also this morning, we do have a reminder here, some housekeeping. Tomorrow is a big day. WKMG is hitting the road, and we've been talking about this for so long, and it's finally here. Tomorrow, our anchor team and investigators will be out at the Rio Pinar Golf Club, and that is at 8600 El Prado Avenue, and that's Orlando, Florida 32825. That's the whole reason why we're there, the 32825 zip code, which is East Orange County. So make sure you stop by Rio Pinar Golf tomorrow between 4 and 7 p.m. And we will also have some nice swag on hand for those who get there early. So that's while supplies last, but it's always some really good stuff. So it might be, I don't know, it's a mystery. They won't let us look in the boxes, but sometimes it's like really nice tumblers, umbrellas, bags. I don't know what it could be. So you have to go out there tomorrow between 4 and 7 at Rio Pinar to find out. So hope to see you there from 4 to 7 tomorrow. Well, we want to get ready to hit the road. Trooper Steve is out in Results 1, and it's the fog lifting, Steve.
A little bit, kind of out there. We can go straight to DOT cam, please. This is going to be South Volusia County, northbound 95 right now. We're seeing some major issues after a car fire out there, semi-fire carrying frozen seafood. It's not so frozen anymore. Two lanes now open. This is going to be 95 northbound at the 241, so close to State Road 442, north of Deering Parkway. What you're looking at here is DOT cam allowing some cars to get by at this point. The purple has gone away, but the delay is there. I had issued an alternate earlier that people were curious. They could detour themselves to Deering Parkway, but it doesn't look like that is necessary anymore. Two issues out in the city right now. Water main break from earlier. That water has been stopped. Roadway is still closed there, so please be careful as you proceed through that intersection. And then a minor crash just east there at Conway and Michigan. Sand Lake JYP, we got a crash with injuries causing some issues in the southbound lanes. It's an overpass there, so please be careful. Sand Lake not affected. And then here's some of that spotty fog. So fog is lifted a little bit in Seminole County, but we do have those westbound delays there causing some issues. Lake Mary to downtown, 25 minutes, a whopping 30 minutes though coming in from Kissimmee, so be careful. The rest of Seminole, not too bad this morning. Some slowdowns along 441 passing right by our station this morning, but no crashes within that area. The attractions area routinely slow eastbound. Some minor things. Look like a crash came out at Intersection City right there. It's a community, not really a city. Right there at 1792 and Poinciana Boulevard. Pleasant Hill, surprise, your parking lot, northbound, bumper to bumper right now, from about where my mom's house is, all the way north there to 1792. So about 5 miles. I tell you, Bridgett, I have been traveling down to Kissimmee a lot lately, obviously with the passing of my father and going down there. And all in all, I will say this. I will say this with such factual statement. I have never experienced worse traffic and stressful driving than in the city of Kissimmee and in Osceola County. It is miserable, and it's no reason for it. You got to experience some of that when you were gracious, and the team brought my mom some gifts, but it is absurd, and there doesn't need to be a crash. There doesn't be nothing. It is just insane. So if you're driving down there, I feel for you guys. Just please pack your patience. I know it's cliche to say it, but it's let go, let God. It's the only way not to get stressed down there. It's truly, I lose my mind. I'm going to be going down there in a little bit. I lose my mind all the time.
I know. And it's like we talked about, you just, if you know that that's your commute and you know that it is just a headache and there's such a ton of other people also going the same way, you just have to get some good audio books and just really take your time and pay attention, because it's a lot of stop and go. And then the last thing you want is like a little fender bender, and that ties it up even more.
It's a conscious decision to not get stressed. And you and I have talked about it. You have to make the choice behind the wheel and almost say it out loud that I don't care. I don't care. I'm safe in my car. I've got my Coke Zero with me. Life is good. And that's it, because it is insane. It's preventable. And I don't want to get on a traffic soapbox here, because then it's going to sound like I'm running for office, but it's a development problem down there.
Right.
And there is a lack of traffic enforcement, I think, just because of how busy it can get. You don't see this in other places in Central Florida. It's kind of crazy. It is just crazy.
It really is. Do you think, like you said, the development happened before the road infrastructure was there to handle the amount of travelers that would be coming through with the increased homes available that way?
100%. You look at the community of Poinciana, and it blew up because the housing is great. And now the roadways did not keep up with it. Pleasant Hill is still 2 lanes, yet you've got thousands and thousands of people who are still moving out to Point. You could pull up on Zillow right now, and you look for a huge home at a good price, but it's going to take you 2 hours to get to work.
I know.
So it's like, it is insane.
Yeah,
So
and that's part of that crisis with the housing, the affordable housing crisis. All goes back into that as well, because it's the roads that also have to support the growth. And you have people going to Osceola County, Lake County, like you said, out by Davenport. It's just like every direction that you can actually get a good deal on a home. You have to trade your time, not just the increased miles, but the increased time because of the traffic congestion. And so working from home sounds really good for that.
I know we got to keep Justin busy with Boomtown and stuff, but I would really like if everyone just did a moratorium for the next 12 months. Not one house built and only roads. That's it. Man, put that on a poster somewhere. All right,
It's a
Bridget, I know you
pickle.
got
It's a
stuff to do.
pickle. Well, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Good to have you. And what's on patrol today?
I'm going to be following Superman Justin because we've been talking about him all morning.
You have.
Boomtown brought him out. I missed the guy. I missed the guy a lot. I barely get to see him. So he has been doing a lot of Boomtown stuff up in Lake Underhill, and actually got to speak with some residents out there on how upset they are that, okay, buildings are getting made, businesses are being made, but Lake Underhill is still the same Lake Underhill that it was 15 years ago. So we're going to go drive out there and just do a nice live stream and show what the traffic is like from about Cimarron all the way east along Lake Underhill. And I can already tell you, I'm glad I'm in a truck because the potholes are interesting.
You know what? I want to put you in charge of new roads and lights, the timing of lights.
Hey, I don't know if that's a elected or appointed, but we could figure it out, make it happen.
Traffic czar.
The traffic czar. I like that.
Oh,
Thanks,
boy.
Bridget. I'll talk to you
Blow
later.
your head up today. All right.
Yeah,
Bye.
don't. Bye.
All righty. Did you hear about Mega Millions? This is so exciting. You have the chance tonight to win one of the largest ones in almost 7 months. The top prize up to 650 mil, but you know the lump sum is a lot smaller. 308, just $308 million before taxes. Taxes. That's coming up next month, right? You can watch the drawing live before News 6 at 11, and we'll have results tomorrow on News 6 morning. So good luck with that. Some unfortunate news about the measles. You know, we've talked about an uptick with that. So the state is looking at doing some pop-up clinics. We actually have one in Apopka today to try to get more people vaccinated. Do we have that slide, Donovan? Do we have it? Okay.
We haven't had any confirmed cases. I just know that we're right at the bubble on that. We're right at 90% vaccinated, and that's where you start to run into where it can spread. So that's what we want to try. We want to try to get that up to somewhere north of 95%.
So you see just that difference of 5% can cause much more transmission. So the state has several cases in recent weeks. We were able to find out there were at least 4 people diagnosed recently at Orlando Health. And the clinics will be in different locations. So again, starting at Farm Worker Association of Florida on Apopka Boulevard today from 2 to 7 p.m. And these events will be running. You can see a full list of all the clinics. Go to clickorlando.com and our mobile news app. I'll post that on my Facebook page later today as well. And we'd like to tell you about recalls because I'm a shopper and I want to know if something in my pantry or my fridge needs to go. So Trader Joe's has an issue going on with a very popular item. Maybe you've seen it because it's been viral recently. I didn't know about this one, but the chicken soup dumplings apparently might have hard pieces of plastic from a permanent marker mixed in. So there have been reports of this. So 61,000 pounds of dumplings are now being recalled because of these complaints from customers about the plastic. So it's not supposed to be an ingredient. The USDA is urging anyone who has the chicken soup dumplings from Trader Joe's to please throw them out or return them to the store. And hey, you can pick up something else pretty good. Donovan, do we have time for the cars?
I think we should say hi to Candace.
Oh, we have Candace now? Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Okay. Candace is here. We were stretching for you, Candace, but I know there were a few little technical things this morning, but we made it. How's the fog?
You know, I'm pretty good at being on time about everything, but when the system just doesn't want to load, then, you know, it is what it is. So let's get some maps here. I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what the weather's going to be like. You watch Breakfast with Bridgett, and normally weather is right off the top.
Where's Candace?
Where's Candace? All right, let's talk about visibility right now. Visibility is still pretty limited in some spots in Sanford, Orlando right now. We're seeing kind of the worst of it. Just want to let you know that we do have a dense fog advisory in effect for the coastal communities. So just the counties of Flagler, Volusia, and northern Brevard County. All right, now as we continue into the next couple hours, though, we are watching this big old bubble of moisture that's going to continue to surge towards the north and east. We're going to see kind of the tail end of this as an area of low pressure develops in this kind of boundary layer. Now, the timing is going to get a little interesting as we head into the afternoon. So let's take it here, stopping the clock at about 4. Just like yesterday, we're going to have that collision of the east and west coast sea breeze. Where they collide is where we'll see the rain. So right now by 4 o'clock, you can see it looks like the collision will be happening across our western zones. But we're going to have a strong westerly breeze today, and that's going to be pushing all of the moisture towards the east. So the west coast sea breeze is going to be kind of the stronger of the two as they battle it out. You can see scattered showers, pretty good chance as we head into your 5, 6, 7 o'clock hour, continuing to pin itself along our east coast by about 8. So a much more active weather pattern than what we dealt with yesterday. We will continue to watch some more scattered showers. Still got a lot of instability, and we still have this big area in the Gulf that's injecting more instability and moisture into our forecast. Plus it's warm, plus it's humid. So all of that could spell for more storms. Then our modeling is holding on to some scattered showers, kind of breaking through into the overnight hours as that main boundary pushes through central Florida. Now, I wanted to show you that as of right now, it looks like that boundary is going to clear by the morning. If it doesn't, and it does slow down, which some models do have it slowing down, we're going to have to keep the rain chances in the forecast even into your Wednesday afternoon. So with that being said, today's forecast, pretty clear cut. Dry for the first half of the day. After dismissal time, kids have ball games, practices out there. We are anticipating rain chances to increase after about 5, 6 o'clock. Here comes that rain. Remember on the modeling, it showed a pretty nice widespread risk of rain pushing from west to east. And the chance of rain, we're going to keep it in the forecast throughout early tomorrow morning by daybreak. With that being said, we do have a severe weather risk for tomorrow. This, I think, primarily is in place not because of the overnight rain, but Bridgett, it's going to be if this system doesn't clear fast enough and we have that boundary overhead, we have the heating of the day coming together, we could have some severe storms tomorrow afternoon. Again, that's if we see a lag in the storm chances later on tonight. So, we talked about it during the show. I'm like, the confidence in the forecast over the next couple of hours, not great. Models really differ quite there's quite of a spectrum of what modeling is showing as we head into your Wednesday morning and into the afternoon. So making sure you tune in tonight. Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrell will have another kind of refresh of the modeling, give you a better idea of what's going on. But right now, I'm going to keep the chance of rain in the forecast at least until the afternoon. I am going to side on the front coming through a little earlier in the day, which will mean that we'll be a little drier by the afternoon. But we'll continue to keep our eyes on that. Pinpoint Weather app is a great tool. So anytime we have any updates or there's a big shift in our weather pattern or our forecast, that's where we will be sending out the information. That and, of course, on clickorlando.com.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we got to go. We got to get to Weather-Wise. Thanks, Candace.
Let's go.
Bye.
Right.
Bye. That's going to do it for us. We're out of time. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30. Make it a great day.